Okay, I want to do another video for supports on how to rotate away from like Spider-Man and dive heroes so that way you can sort of predict the incoming danger and how to avoid it. I know for a lot of people it's a very stressful thing to do, but a lot of what surviving dive is a support is good positioning and good awareness and good predicting of what the enemy is going to do. And now this game was a was a very stressful game overall because as you can see here, there's a Spider-Man, there is a Psylocke, and there is a Magic. That is a lot of dive for the supports, and yet I rarely died in this game. I think I only died once. So immediately I am up on this high ground, making it very difficult to access. If a support or if a diver wants to get to me, they need to first come up here. But I'm also away from anyone who's down below. So here I'm applying heals, trying to wait. And then once I hear the divers coming from a position, right, I start to rotate away from the incoming danger. I look to my left and I see, oh, that is a Spider-Man and a Magic. And I know that because, especially they're divers and I'm a support, they're looking right at me. They're going to look to immediately jump on me. I jump into a position to where I can get away and I immediately get behind cover. I had called out, hey, they're on the back, they're on the left right now, get them, right? And I immediately get into a position in which I am safe, right? So now I can apply heals to my team in that position in that doorway, and I can keep my team alive. Uh, but I'm always rotating around with my team and with cover. Now that I know that Magic and Spidey are gone, I can focus on healing my team. Uh, but I immediately want to get back up to that high position to where I can help and assist my team from afar. But now that it's been a little bit, I know that the Spidey is coming back because of the fact if it's been a while and you haven't seen the flankers in a bit, you're about to get flanked. And now once I see Spider-Man jump in, I'm immediately near the edge so that way I can rotate back down and get into this cover. And now if we look from Spider-Man's point of view, it's very difficult to see me, right? So now I'm applying heals to my team in an effective way while also staying away from the Spider-Man. And now that I know that he is going to jump on someone, I immediately started to preemptively heal the Cloak and Dagger because I saw that she was out in the open. And now I'm just trying to make sure that we survive that burst. And I'm trying to angle my shots in a way in which I'm hitting both my allies in the back as well as Cloak and Dagger in front. And now I am trying to predict the next dive, right? I am trying to sit in a position where I can use my ult. I'm trying to apply it. But you see how, once again, I am near my cover here. And once I turned to the left and I heard Spider-Man on his way, now I'm standing behind this cover. Now I'm making it very difficult for the diver to reach me while still providing still being within LOS of my team in order to provide heals. And now that Spider-Man jumps in, I immediately jump back out and I apply pressure to him to force him out. So now he has to leave, right? He used abilities to get in towards me. I survived the burst, the incoming burst damage that was about to hit me by dodging the shots, predicting what he was going to do, and then applying damage. And by applying damage, I couldn't kill him, but I did force him to leave. But my positioning, my positioning a lot of times it's not random, right? I'm not standing out in the open a lot of times without purpose, right? Everywhere I'm standing is being mindful of, okay, where's my cover? Where can I go if it gets dicey? They have a Spider-Man on the team, so I might not want to be up top on top of the roofs. I might want to be down below or near a wall or some place where I can stand inside so I can avoid his shots as he tries to zip by me and hit me. We accidentally use both of our ults at the same time, but because of the fact that both ults are at the same time, I immediately just try to turn on the damage mode and follow up. I did communicate that I was going to ult first, but I might not have said it loud enough for him to hear. The Cloak and Dagger is my duo buddy too, so he's my IRL friend for a long time. So now I'm going back up top, and once I start to see that Spider-Man is there and he gets the combo on me, my goal right now is to just to try and survive the burst, like I talked about, right? Like, and Cloak and Dagger realizes that and puts the bubble down. And here, I'm sitting inside of here because of the fact that it is very difficult for Spider-Man to hit me in here. I am trying to make it difficult to hit me while still being in LOS of my team. Here, once again, trying to survive the burst. Us supports are trying to survive the burst. I see Cloak puts her bubble down on the ground, but I want to make sure that she stays alive until she lands in it. There's a very lucky orb that bounces while we're in the bubble. And now that we have survived the burst, now we can go back to applying pressure to the enemy team. And Spider-Man had to leave. I didn't hear or see the Psylocke, so that's usually what happens when you actually do end up dying to a dive, is when you don't see it coming, right? When you don't predict it. That's what a good diver does. They're assassin players, so they're trying to play like an assassin. But if you can control that space as a DPS to make sure that they don't encroach on that space, or as a tank and make sure that they're not allowed in that space, or if as a support you can see that a diver slipped through the cracks and you start to predict and rotate with them by either jumping down and around and using your cover, you can make it much more difficult for them to reach you, and you can win more games that way. The hardest part about playing a good support is staying alive, right? Yes, the healing aspect of playing support is the easy part in terms of it's very easy to apply heals to the team, generally speaking. But positioning and being able to carry in a way as a support to where you stay alive and you can always apply those heals is what's going to help you win more games as a support, right? If you fall as a support, your entire team dies. So you need to have good positioning at all times to try and make sure that you can survive what's about to happen. And a lot of that comes from having a second sense of knowing when danger's about to hit you. Because like right here, once again, I am on this bus, not accidentally. If I need to, I can jump to the left side of the bus. I can jump to the right side of the bus. I can go back behind the bus. But here, I use my ult first and I try to apply pressure. And we just easily win the team fight through a cleanup here. Now, mind you, this was, this is like a Diamond 1 GM3 game in the top, like, 99.16% of players. Like, we had people in this game who were former Eternity and One Above All players, or, like, former Eternity, Celestial, at least. So these are not bad players by any means. So now we trade, and as they start to ult, if you've ever seen my videos in the past, you always know that I am standing in a position in which I am safe as like everybody else is grouped up together here, and I can back up to safety and still apply heals and help my team out, right? But look at my position at all times where like, oh, I'm going to get attacked. I'm going to now run up this wall and make it very difficult on them to hit me. And now I'm near this wall. I can hide, use this wall as cover as I can shoot heals down from the enemy on the enemy team and help my team as I stay alive long enough that Black Panther sees the Psylocke looking up out of position at me and gets the execute. And now I can go back to my previous location. I chuck that just to keep it up and start applying heals to my team. Now Cloak and Dagger comes back out and is able to ult the point. And now that she's ulted the point, I can apply a bunch of damage and help my team follow up on the kills. And for people playing Rocket now, Rocket has changed, right? The way that Rocket plays now comparison to before is before you would have your jet boost that you could use a lot more frequently so you could dash around a lot more. Now your dash is not up as often, so you're going to have to take advantage of that little boost that he gets when he attaches himself to walls and then jetpacks up so he can launch himself in the air really high, or you need to position yourself near a wall and take advantage of those walls like you saw me do there. Rocket was very slippery before, but he didn't have to be super mindful of his positioning. He could just rely on his abilities to sort of bail him out. And what NetEase kind of saw was like, hey, we don't want you to just easily get bailed out by just hitting shift whenever. We want you to be mindful of your positioning. So now I survive by constantly putting myself near walls and stuff to where I can jet boost myself either up or away, or I can use them to run away. Like, it's a much more interesting dynamic, I think, in playing Rocket, that I understand the frustration of having to like relearn a different play style, but I will say that like it is a lot of fun to scurry on the walls and be very difficult to hit. So here we're starting. They have a flame boy, and I am being very cautious because they've been playing dive all game. I did not mean to throw that on the payload. And because they've been playing dive all game, you see me immediately start to get away, right? It's an Iron Fist and a Venom. I am trying to just apply pressure to them. And now I know that it's an Iron Fist and a Venom. I have to be very, very careful. I am positioning myself in this spot specifically because of the fact that the payload is still moving up and we don't have a whole lot of space. I can provide heals to my team from this angle while Cloak and Dagger is applying heals from that other angle. And if they dive onto me, I have access to the spawn point. And now as we start to get picks because the initial dive on us didn't work out, we get to just sort of like walk it down. As a support, if you can live longer than the enemy supports, the longer you can live, the better chance you have a lot of times of winning the game. And now I'm going to start getting dove by the Iron Fist. I thought he was going to block, but apparently he had already used it. Now we just pushed it in for a win. You can see, though, how many times that, you know, Spider-Man in the previous round had zipped around to try and get to me, or that Magic was trying to flank around, or that Psylocke was trying to fight an angle. My job as support is just to stay alive. In those situations, you want to rotate thinking, okay, how does Spider-Man play? Well, he zips around in the air. Well, maybe I don't want to be on the roof. Maybe I want to be in a different location. Like, okay, they have Psylocke, or they have Magic, you know. Magic requires a combo. She requires a charge up. She's not going to shoot you from a range. So you want to be mindful of the positions in which she might come from and understand how to play around that. And then when you see that danger, if you see a diver has slipped through the cracks, you need to be rotating in a way in which you will always have cover or some sort of an escape route planned. You don't want to be surrounded. You don't want to be out in the open. You want to use advantages of your positioning to survive. And the longer that you can survive, the more they're wasting their time, right? So yeah, positioning as support and predicting that incoming damage and understanding how other kits work will help you stay alive. And if you haven't had a chance to play these other heroes and try them out in games, I highly suggest you do, because when you realize how the character's kit works and you understand how the character's kit works, it's much easier to understand how to play around it and what doesn't work, right? But a lot of times people, you know, what they don't like about dive is that when there's coordination, it feels like you can't do anything. Or when they dive on you, if you're out in the open, it feels like you don't have anything in your toolkit to necessarily fight back. And I will say that if you're playing Rocket and you're standing in the open and you just have heals and your gun and your jetpacks, if somebody dives you, you're probably going to die. But if you position well, if you position near walls, if you position in cover, if you be mindful of this stuff, you can outplay these divers by merely wasting their time. Because if divers aren't able to execute something and use that damage spike that they have from their burst damage, they're very useless, right? And that's what you're trying to do, is just get them to waste their time. So yeah, this was a little mini episode on how to position as support. You know, once again, these are not bad players by any means, but just by rotating around and away from danger, I made it very difficult for them to get access to me, which made it very easier to enable my team. You saw that no matter how many times the Spider-Man or other DPS players were trying to rotate to get into position to attack the supports, I was never really in any real danger up until that one Psylocke ult, which is that Psylocke ult I didn't predict, I didn't hear, I didn't see, no one called it out. It was a good play on their part, but I died because I didn't predict what they were going to do. All the times I saw what they were going to do or predict what they were going to do, I survived. So yeah, that's how you sort of position and rotate away from danger against dive. I hope that this was useful as a support mains. I'm trying to do my best to help everybody right now, as I think NetEase is basically told us in a professional way that you need to focus on positioning and learning how to get better at the game and not just rely on your abilities to bail you out. Now, this is the part where everybody needs to get better at the game, and you do that through good positioning. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got for now. Hopefully you found this one useful and, supports your staying alive longer. Anyway, thanks for watching.